Oh, Yesenia, we're back.
Yeah, we are.
Back like we never left. It's cold. It's rainy. It's windy. This weather is never going to get better. But that's all right because we don't need to be outside to soft boil your ass. 'Cause we're back for another round.
Back for another round. So I hope y'all can get cozy, get a little warm, and be ready for this ramen bowl because y'all are about to get soft boiled.
Boom. It's going to be a good one today, too. I've actually been looking forward to this one for a long time, or actually, ever since we started talking about this. This has been an episode I have been hotly anticipating. This topic should actually be a much more lively take than some other stuff we've been talking about before. I think we'll have a lot of fun with this one. Let's get into it.
You are now tuned in to the Soft Boiled Podcast with DeAndre and Yesenia, your one-stop shop for all things relationships. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Well, DeAndre, usually I'm the one that kind of introduces the topic and our guest, but I'm going to take control right now and ask you to introduce this topic and introduce who we have sitting with us virtually for this lovely discussion we're about to have.
Oh, I love it when a woman takes control. I will do my best to do this as succinct as possible. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the topic of the dating scene currently. In case you're listening to this at a later time, it is March 2023. If that gives you any sort of perspective or window into what the dating world is like now. And we're also going to be talking about some dating apps and how to navigate them. Have you had any success? Things of that nature. And I can only think of one man, part of the Ramen Raiders, that is well equipped to talk about this topic. Well, he's one of the people I would like to have talked to us about, but I feel like he would provide the most oomph on this topic. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Let me hear you. Let me hear you all the way in the back. Raise the roof, make some noise, put your hands together for Mr. Impressive.
How you doing? How you doing?
Hello, Impressive.
It is a very, very chill night in the Bay Area, and I am doing my best to stay warm. How are y'all doing?
You know, sitting here, trying to stay warm. I'm ready for this pasta that's about to come to my door.
I got my heater on. It's nice and toasty up in here. It's like 70 degrees in my room.
You're living in an oven.
Yep.
But for those of you that don't know, Impressive is another member of the Ramen Raiders, who I'm sure you've already heard some past members on some previous episodes. He is our main editor in chief. We love the hard work he puts in, putting together all of our clips and even his clips. He uploads them to the Ramen Raiders YouTube channel, and to his own personal channel at YouTube/Impressive. I think you don't stream anymore, do you?
I've been thinking about getting back into it, but I think I'm gonna just wait till it gets warmer because the weather would be really messing with my mojo when I play games. Because my hands are cold.
Hey, no, yeah. I feel that. But I kind of gave you a little rough intro, but you wanna go ahead and introduce yourself to the fine folks out there listening?
Yeah, sure. Like the man said, my name is Ace. I am regular straight dude in his late 20s. Currently single. I can't really find a means of dating outside of dating apps because of my work schedule, but hey, we try to make time for what we can.
Facts.
And I mean, hey, since you brought it up, man, how's the dating scene been going for you on the apps? What apps are you on, first of all?
I'm on Hinge and Bumble.
Hinge and Bumble. I love one of those. One of those I love absolutely more than the other.
Yeah, we've talked about this way too much. But I guess for the people that don't know, which app is that? Which app are you endorsing?
I'm gonna put my stamp of approval on good old Bumble.
Of course.
That's so funny
I
because
can see
I only
why.
have Hinge.
You only have Hinge, which is crazy because I feel like someone like you, I think we've also talked about this before, but I think someone like you would thrive on Bumble. Not because like you're a single pretty female, but like you are in control over who you get to talk to, you know?
That's true. Yeah, I've just never downloaded it. I also didn't know that like the girls are supposed to like send the message first,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Yep.
low key be a little scared to do that.
Now you can see how we feel.
I know, right? Yeah,
It's
because
it's not easy, no matter how many times you do it. Sometimes you want to use the. I don't know if you had to do this, Dean, but sometimes you just weren't on top of it that day, so you use like an old line that you used on someone before to see if it works the same.
yeah, there would be some days where I would absolutely, if I wasn't feeling a girl, if she hit me up, I would just throw some random pickup line or so. I wouldn't do it with the intention of getting her to unmatch me. It would mostly be, all right, how is she gonna perceive this? Because I think it's clever.
Mm-hmm.
It's never worked, or maybe it's worked like once, but I perceive it as clever and funny. We'll see how she takes it, and most of the time, it ends up with me getting unmatched.
And hey, they weren't the one. That's all it is.
And yeah, sometimes it's it is what it is. You got to move on to the next. You can't dwell on the past. I don't think of it as like the one that got away type thing, but
Although
hey.
sometimes this is just me though. Um, there are the ones where like you hit them with that your play, right? Your
Mhm.
opening line, and sometimes you want it to work.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes, yeah, like you said, there's varying degrees to how much you like care about the person that you're matched up with, but there's some days where like you're really hoping it hits and it lands.
Man, and it's always the worst when you really want it to land, and boy, there's just
And
nothing.
you got nothing. Your joke fell on deaf ears. It's crazy.
Now, Ace, or I guess let me preface this. A lot of these free dating apps, Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, OkCupid, whatever other apps they come out with now, all of these services are free, but of course they have their paid tiers where you can get, unlimited likes, you can get rewinds, I don't know, skips. This isn't Spotify, but you get access to extra features on top of whatever the base, free version of the app is, which is usually just, a limited amount of swipes per day
Mm-hmm.
or every
Mm-hmm.
12 hours or what may have you. Now, Ace, have you ever dropped money on either of these apps to get
No,
like,
but I have been tempted.
okay. Now, I will go on record on saying I have dropped money on Bumble a couple times here and there. Back when this was a few years ago, back when dropping money on Bumble was like the cost of like $2.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember that.
When it was like you get Bumble like unlimited or Prime or whatever they called it back then.
Mm-hmm.
And you could get like the unlimited likes, you could get the rewinds, you could get the super likes, you can get all that for like $2 for like a 24-hour period. Now it's like you get it for like a week for like $15. I don't know what the price is now. I've uninstalled the app.
I think
But
it is $15. Yes.
yeah, it's pretty wild how much that jumps. But I've only ever done that. I've only ever been like, I need to drop money on this app right fucking now because I
Well,
can't.
I have a question for you then, since you
Yeah.
asked. Did that work out for you for those 24 hours?
No. Sometimes I would think they would. And the only times I would ever drop money on the app is to get the super likes because I wanted to drop a super like on a girl that I thought was really pretty and I liked her bio, I liked her vibe. And like we mentioned earlier, Bumble is an app where the female, the girl has to message first, and I would drop that that super like on them, and obviously they can see that, and it's up to them whether or not they want to respond with to the super like. And most of the time I don't think that ever worked. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's ever worked.
For you?
Yeah, for me personally, yeah. But now I know they changed it to where your prompts, you can comment on someone's prompts. Or am I thinking about Hinge?
I think you're talking about Hinge.
Yeah.
Okay, I know. Okay, yeah, I know Hinge. You can comment on people's like prompts and stuff. No, I think Bumble might have added that later. I swear to God, I think they did. I don't know. I swear I think they did. I don't know. I'm not gonna do it too much on it, but yeah, dating apps now. Dating apps now is definitely, you know, a vibe. It's definitely hit or miss. You can get some gems. You absolutely can get good conversations. You can catch someone's vibe before you even meet them, which is why I like them personally, because we're all in this age of, everyone's busy, everyone's got a life. Not everyone has time to go out to bars or restaurants or, social gatherings to where people would normally hook up or date or,
The hustle and bustle of like people's daily lives is at an all-time high now.
yeah.
Crazy.
And apps just, quell that a little bit. It makes it a little bit easier. And I get it. Some people don't like the apps. I will admit, men and women, there are a lot of weirdos out there. There are a lot of them.
That goes without saying, though. You don't have to be on the apps to know that.
Oh yeah. And there are weirdos out there, but then there are also fine folks out there. Like I came across this tweet that I screenshotted earlier that I'm going to pull up right now, and it's never been true. It was this dude is quote retweeting a girl on TikTok. Of course, it's TikTok, about a Hinge date that she had, and the dude was, losing his mind because she didn't respond quick enough while she was on her way to the date. Blah 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 blah. And she blocked all that kind of stuff. She got blocked, all that kind of stuff. And this is the quote tweet. And because I'm glad we're recording this today because it's at the top of my mind. It says, "Modern dating is hell. Everyone is so scarred by their experiences that they immediately enter thinking the worst or portending humiliation / rejection, rather than approaching a new situation with hope, curiosity, and an open heart." Which I was like, damn, that shit hits home. Because it's like, it's like, how many times have you, met someone, started talking to someone, and, they're and obviously, it's different than your guard being up. Everyone's guard is up when you first meet someone. But, you don't want to, I get it. We all have a past, but how much do you let that affect your dating life going forward?
I think it depends on each person's varying, like how many times they have to go put themselves through the ringer. Because like someone like me, I don't get many matches, so like these are few and far between. So like I am not conditioned yet to withstand all the possible disappointment that comes with doing these things. And I think just based off how I know myself, I don't think I'll ever be necessarily ready. Like I just gotta, but I do have a routine to fall back on to like, to bounce back from. And I'm currently doing that right now because of past events recently, this past Valentine's Day, but I guess we can get to that whenever. But like the tweet said, it's much more harder now than ever, in my opinion, to like legitimately form connections with people. And I think it really sucks because at the age that we're at right now, it's like the perfect time to like find a partner or whatever. But it also sucks because we live in the worst era so far of trying to find a meaningful connection with people and trying to find your ideal partner, because you got to deal with all the stuff in the middle that everyone hates dealing with. You got to go through like an unspecified number of like losses before you find your win. So, or unless you're lucky, you could be lucky and hit it out the park on the first try, but that's, in my opinion, a very, very rare instance. And I think the average person would probably go through like, I don't know, let's say 5 or 7 dates before they find a really good one.
Yeah.
Also, this is also dependent on location.
Yeah. I was
So
also
like,
gonna say, I think we can have a whole conversation about this because I feel like I bring it up in almost every episode now, but I feel like social media has done a number on what dating looks like and having these like real unrealistic expectations for dating. And it's all glamorized and romanticized and like about money. And I think that's what really throws it off.
it does play a huge part. Unfortunately, uh, the people that like made that the emphasis are some of the worst people in
Yep.
in this generation. Because you're looking for what the person has instead of what the person is.
Mm-hmm.
So, just unfortunate.
Yeah, a lot of people live vicariously through the people that they see online, whether they know them or not. And they immediately see that, oh, so and so, they're happy, and this couple's happy. They're going here, they're going there, and they think they want that. But in reality, it's like, yeah, you don't. You think you want that, but it's not all it's cracked up to be.
It's literally just what they want to show you.
Yeah,
That's what
Literally.
people forget. It's just your social media profile is like, I guess you could say to an extent, your ideal lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, like we have a couple friends that share stories like pretty much almost every day, and it's usually just like mundane stuff, like they're going to the gym, they're out with their partner, they're walking their dog. And then there's those that are like, nah, I got all this money and I get all this play, but I'm pretty sure most of us that see these people or have this preconceived notion that are like, this person's probably not the best in terms of character.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was actually recently listening to somebody else's podcast, and there was this whole conversation about this guy who was like teasing apart this girl, how she wanted like a man with 6 figures and drives a nice car and blah, 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 right? But then when it comes to asking what she brings to the table, the guy was asking like, oh, do you have your own apartment? She's like, oh, it's just me and some roommates. Like, oh, like what type of car do you drive? And she's like, oh, it's like, an older 2000, whatever, Toyota, Honda, whatever. Like, what's your 5-year plan? She's like, oh, I just want a lot of money. Like, she wasn't able to really idealize any of her own future goals / like materialistic goals, but had like a whole drawing board for him. And he was getting a lot of hate on it. I was like reading the comments about it, but I'm like, and again, this is just coming from like my perspective. If I'm going to be a woman that expects that type of guy, then I need to also uphold that for myself. And I think a lot of the times that gets a lot of backlash, like, oh, it's okay to like set your standards high. And yeah, it definitely is. But like, what are you offering? Like, what are you bringing? And I think that's my issue with like dating nowadays, because I know what I'm bringing to the table. Like, I'm good with or without somebody. And the people that I try to idealize, I guess, because, it's Hinge, so you don't always know what you're getting. I kind of be like, oh, like, could I see this person like matching where I'm at in life based on pictures, based on prompts? And the only 2 guys that I think I've had like real conversations with, one of them, he definitely does, but there's a lot of life experience missing there, and that's not on his, like, that's not his fault whatsoever. Like, and I don't know him too well, so I'm just assuming, right? But I think for me, I'm like, oh, I don't want to like be this dark cloud that's come with this traumatic background and you haven't had that much experience with life like that. But he just sees this world in such a privileged way. And I'm like, damn, that's so fortunate. I can't do that. But then there's this other guy. Man, oh man. When I tell you, his mom does everything for him. His mom does everything for him. And I'm like, nope. I am not about to be your second mom. I am not about to raise you. I am not about to be here. No, 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 no. No.
like he don't know how to cook or clean.
His mom meal preps for him. And he brings his laundry over to his mom's house so she can do his laundry.
Yeah, it's like that. That's crazy.
I'm like, no, because then if we get together, you gonna expect me to do that? Nope. That's not an expectation I want from my relationship. It is if you're cooking, I'm cleaning. If I'm cooking, you're cleaning, or we're both cooking and we're both cleaning.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna step into gender roles like that.
I remembered my point finally as you were talking. I didn't want to interrupt you. But yes, the point I was gonna make earlier before I lost it is we very much live in a quick fix society. Everyone's very much what can you do for me now mentality. And it sucks that that bleeds into relationships, because I feel like a lot of people get into relationships thinking that a lot of the people, their partners, have their best interest in mind, but in reality they don't. You just sort of shack up with a person because, like you said, they have the money, or they have the car, or they have the tools to, I guess, get you where you want to go, live the lifestyle you want to live, all this kind of stuff. But like you were saying, you personally are not bringing anything to the table. You're basically a leech. And a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people think very highly of themselves to the point where it's like, well, what is a man going to do for me? Because I can do X, Y, and Z. Well, what does X, Y, and Z actually mean? Like, sure, it's okay to have confidence and have good, high self-esteem, high standards, all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't make you a good partner. And a lot of people just don't realize that.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows, and we talked about this in an earlier episode that hopefully will be out by this time. But I mentioned it earlier, or in a previous episode, like, guys, guys. It's not world shattering that your lady knows how to cook. You know what I mean? Like you're saying this dude, his mom does all that stuff for him. You should just know how to do that. Like, guys, it's like some of the most basic. You should just know how to cook and clean and do laundry and wash dishes and all this kind of, wipe your ass. But it's like, it's like, guys, I found me a woman that knows how to cook. Congratulations, Negro. What else does she do for you?
I will say, Sanya, based on the thing that you said earlier about that dude's mom doing everything for him, I'm not really wanting to speak on that because, like, on my work days, my dad does cook for me. He does cook my lunch for me because I have to get up so early, but he gets up earlier than me. So I don't have to do that because, like, I have like a 30-minute window to get ready and to leave. So I don't really have that luxury, but I'm not trying to say it's an excuse.
No, but I think that's totally different.
That's so different. Like, that's your parent taking care of you. That's your parent, like, knowing and recognizing that you have that window. They want to make sure you have lunch. And I'm sure if they weren't there, you could do it on your own.
Oh yeah.
But when it's this, like, instilled thing of, like, oh no, I don't cook, my mom does it for me, and, like, she brings it over even though you're a grown ass man and you don't cook your own food, you let your mom come. And that's nice, right? Like, what a luxury that is. And for me, I guess the way that I thought about it was, like, if him and I would have got married, one is the expectation that I take on that role, but two, is she just gonna all of a sudden be, like, uninvited over whenever the fuck she wants, dropping off food like that? Because I guess for me, it's just more of, like, I didn't grow up like that, and I don't have that type of luxury, so I'm just like, I don't know. And then I'm very adamant on not performing expected gender roles, and I think that comes from, like, when I was home from school growing up, like, I had to start cooking and I had to start cleaning and take care of everybody before taking care of myself. Hence why I procrastinate on everything and wait till the last minute to do everything because that's just what I'm used to. So when it's like it was instilled in me that like I was supposed to be cooking. I don't want a partner that's going to have that same value. Like I don't want to perform that gender role. I don't want someone to expect that from me because then it just doesn't make me want to do it for you. If you're expecting that from me versus like you want that from me or you would like to do it together, that's so different. But if my man worked at the crack of dawn and I know he's going to have a long day, you best believe I'm going to be up earlier than him to make sure he has breakfast and lunch and snack. Because I see you working hard, you're taking care of me, I can take care of you. That's different.
Yeah, it's supposed
Fair
to be
enough.
it's supposed to be a partnership, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I do wanna pose the question to everyone here. Since Ace, you mentioned it, so you sort of mentioned it at the top of the episode. Location also plays a big role in the dating scene now. And for those of you that don't know, we all reside in the San Francisco Bay Area. How do you think? What I don't really know how to pose the question, but like, what's the dating scene like in the Bay Area? What's been your experience so far? Is it easy? Is it hard? Do you find women are harder to approach or have too high of standards? Like, what's the deal with
Good
you?
shit.
Two words. It's shit.
Cause like here's the thing that I realized about just dating like an average person in the Bay Area. I don't know if this applies to the rest of the world or country or whatever. The dating scene is so weird because like it's gotten so toxic to date someone like, just regularly now that it's almost like it's a contest of who can care less.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like we're racing to see who can protect their ego the most. And I understand keeping your guard up and not wanting to be hurt. But why are you going into just testing the waters phase, I guess you call it, with the notion that you're going to dislike them at all?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always been brought up thinking that the person that you end up with is not someone that you want to live with. It's someone that you can't live without.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's been lost, especially in our generation, because our generation is so probably some of the most stubborn people that's like ever lived. And we're so quick to drop people off and not work stuff out or meet in the middle, which is what a relationship is meeting in the middle and complementing each other's shortcomings, but also accepting each other's flaws. But most people nowadays don't want to put in the work, and that's really disappointing because I am willing to put in the work and I know what my faults are and I'm trying every day, but it sucks when that person doesn't want to reciprocate that. And that's why it's been so hard, because you guys know how prideful these people in the Bay Area can be. And it's just been so rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it's when you live in a part of a country, like taking the Bay Area, for example, that this part of the country is very prideful and where they come from. Yeah, it can, it almost gets too prideful sometimes, and like you were saying, like we were saying earlier, it's like a competition sometimes, who gets the most likes, who gets the most shares, who could care less, all that kind of stuff. Because
it's a measuring contest. It really is.
Yeah, it's all just a dick measuring contest for a lot of these. I'm not gonna say everyone, but for a lot of these men and women out here, it is a dick measuring contest. I know I got people on my Instagram, these little pretty boy, I'll take your girl types. You know what I mean? They be on their Instagrams, on their stories, they be doing their little pose in the camera, looking all sultry into the camera. They got their new cut, new shave, you know what I mean? They little side to side, looking in the camera, you know what I mean? And then they be flashing their little Gucci shoes or socks or whatever the fuck. They knew boo the thing that they boot up with at a whatever concert or whatever event they're at. You know what I mean? Just flashing their lifestyle for no reason. You know, just to say that I'm living, I guess you could say living your best life, which is cool, I guess, but
it's just trendy. That's what it is.
yeah, it's just trendy. That's all it is. No one's gonna give a fuck about that shit. You know, like they say.
I will say though, I will say for some of those people, I think it's just, they're acting out of some. I'm assuming it's something that happened to them before, and they just want to be seen, and that's their way. That's their means of coping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which really sucks, but I'm grateful because I didn't fall into that trap.
Dean, you mentioned like those guys that talk about like, oh, I can take your girl. Can I share a story that happened to me yesterday?
Oh, please.
So I was at work yesterday, and for those that don't know, I work at basically like a liquor store. But this dude comes in, he's like, oh, do y'all sell white teas? And I work in a really rich part of the Bay Area. Nothing but like older white people, retired white folks. They drive Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Teslas and Porsches. Like that's a typical, you'll just see them all over. So this dude tatted up. He's hood. You can just tell from the way he's walking, the way he talks. He comes in. He's like, oh, do y'all sell white teas? And I start giggling because I'm like, man, you're in the wrong part of the Bay. And I was like, nah, sorry. Like we don't. Like you got to go to a smoke shop for that. He's like, do you know where the nearest smoke shop is? I was like, no, I'm not from here. He's like, oh, where are you from? I was like, oh, I'm from Oakland. And so he kind of did like a double take, but I was like, okay, whatever. He just we connected, right? Clearly he's hood. He probably thought I was some girl from the town I work in, and obviously not. And so he was just like asking some questions about some type of alcohol we have. So I showed him where to go, blah, blah, blah. Then he leaves and comes back like 10 minutes later. And he comes and asks for my number. Or he was like, oh, what's your name? I was like, oh, my name's Yesenia. And he's like, hey, can I have your number? And I was like, you know, like, I appreciate that, but I actually have a boyfriend. He goes, okay, what that mean? And I was like, I don't know why I did like a double take on it, but I was like, sir, what do you mean what that mean? Like, that means I'm wifed up. That means I'm taken. That means I have somebody. And you're going to really just question that? So then my like initial like wheels started turning, right? Because I'm like, why would you get a girl? And even if I were to give you my number, right? What does that say about me? That I'm willing to give my number out to somebody and like have somebody when I'm supposedly taken. What do you think I'm going to do to you if we get together?
I don't think he's thinking about all that.
No, he's not thinking about that. And then, you know, I grew up in the suburbs, right? And, you know, where we're from, but like the hood that I grew up in for the time being, like, you know, just came up on my cousin's 13-year anniversary of his death. Today is the 12th year anniversary of his friend's death. You know, my brother's friends are gone. Like, yeah, I grew up in the suburbs, but I grew up in the ghetto of the suburbs. So it's like, for where we grew up, I'm hood. So for me, in my mind, I'm like, nope, you will not be able to handle me. If you think that I would give my number out while being taken, nope, no. So I like rejected him. But this dude started cussing me out and was just saying like, oh, fuck that. Like, I didn't even want to get your number anyways. Like, you out here hoeing. Like, how you gonna like talk up some dudes like while you have like a man's blah, blah, blah. Well, he said the N-word. I was like, sir, you're not black. You can't use that word. But I didn't. Yeah, anyways. So I'm just like, cool. Like, you asked me for my number. Dismiss the fact that I had a relationship. But then all of a sudden now I'm the hoe because I'm rejecting you. So I started laughing and I was like, insult. That's all that came to mind. And I was like, all right, have a nice day. And I like walked away and I was like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I guess I could have just said no, but I would just assume like, no, just never really works for me anyways. So I'm like, oh, I have a boyfriend. That's my go-to. And nope, still doesn't work.
Yeah, like I said, it's that quick fix society. He was just looking to get his rocks off. When he couldn't get it, he got pissed and he threw a little temper tantrum like a 5-year-old.
Literally. Yeah. And then he came back later that evening. I was kind of like shook because I was like, he came in Russian when he was with a friend. He was like, oh, yeah, that's that hoe right there. I was like, man, you really coming back just to like say shit? That was stupid.
Yeah, that's that petty ass shit.
Just doesn't know how to handle rejection. That's all it is. And unfortunately, I'm sorry that he had to take it out on you like that. Twice, I guess, if you want to count, but
Yeah,
fuck him.
Yeah, it's not right. Yeah, it's not right. But
Of course, it never is.
But I guess speaking on that, you're sitting there. How have you navigated the dating scene in the Bay Area?
For me, it's a little interesting because I'm usually the type of person that I'm kind of like, I date people that I know already, and so like going out there and meeting new people is very nerve-wracking for me. Y'all be thinking I pull bitches, and I mean, like, yeah, I have a lot of likes on Hinge or whatever, but for like every 10 likes, there's maybe one. Maybe one. But I'm very much like, I think I like you, but then I talk myself out of it. So it's been a lot of just me talking myself out of like why I might not like somebody based on their looks, because that's all like social media dating is like, right? Just looking at a bunch of pictures. Um, so this year I really challenged myself to just openly date people and not necessarily find the love of my life, but just see what's out there. Because I don't think I've done that. And even between like my ex and my ex, I was single for 4 years and I didn't really date anybody because I was like holding on to somebody, you know, like wishing that door was, it was a little cracked, and so I wanted it to be open. So I didn't really have the chance to openly date. And now we're in our later 20s and I'm like, I don't even know what I like. I know what I want, but like, do I really want that? So I think it's been a lot of just me trying to navigate being basically working full time, being a student, being an intern, and trying to have a dating life, right? I don't have time. I definitely don't have energy for it. I'm actually going on a date Thursday. I'm gonna go have dinner, but he's from SAC, so we're gonna figure out like a halfway point somewhere.
We go to Raising Cane's in Vacaville.
I mean, we could. Hey, you know what? Don't knock those like Raising Cane's, in and out, drive through type of dates. Like you just go to like a quick joint. You know what I mean?
Hell
I
yeah.
love those types of dates.
In my opinion, that's the best kind of date, because
Yes.
if y'all can just go to McDonald's at like 1 a.m, you might go somewhere.
Look, Little Caesars pizza. It's a $5 pizza. Get some crazy bread. Go to the park. Lay down a blanket if it's like warm enough, and just like chat, talk. I love those types of dates.
Hell
I don't need
yeah.
nothing fancy. I don't need no 5-star meals. I'm not really into drinking right now. I'm trying to like do a drinking cleanse. So I don't want to go have drinks, but I think something that's been challenging for me has been like, I don't like driving out in the Bay Area. Y'all have heard me on the cord, like hella cussing people out, like driving recklessly. And I think I'm already anxious as is, so driving to a date, I don't think mentally I'm prepared for that. But other than that, it's been okay. I've been catfished. At this big ass age, we're still catfishing, which was interesting. And he's actually still texts me and be like, hey, like, did I say something wrong? Sir, you do not look like your pictures. Like, I don't know how many times I gotta tell you that. Like, you vastly look different. I think a lot for me is just, like, I'm not, you know, I'm 20, gonna be 28, whatever. And I look like I'm still in my early 20s. I'm not very curvaceous. Like, I look really young. And so I feel like guys look for all of these, like, surgical bodies on social media, like the BBLs. I mean, technically I do have boobs now, but, like, if you didn't know that beforehand, you don't know. Like, they don't look all, like, fake and stuff, you know? But I'm not curved up like that, and I feel like guys just look for that in women right now, and it kind of blows my self-esteem a little bit. But then I realize, like, I am who I am, and something that I actually remember from This one girl told me, she's like, I might not be for everybody, but I'm for someone. And that's something I have to constantly tell myself is like, at least I'm a bitch that's pretty without makeup. At least I'm a bitch that can get dressed up and be in sweats and I look the exact same. I look pretty both ways. I'm not one of these people out here who can't go a day without wearing makeup because they don't like who they are without makeup, you know? And that is a different type of confidence. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like some guys that I see on like Hinge, for example, I'll be like, oh, you'll never go for a girl like me. Like I'm nerdy, I'm a little too sassy, I'm young in the sense of like I look young. I think it's because I look young that it makes me feel younger. And actually recently I opened up my Hinge to like everybody, so I'm trying to be more open about my sexuality despite like what parents think and like my family thinks. So that's going to be a new journey soon. But I don't know, because sometimes like when I was younger dating women, I remember a lot of people would tell me like, oh, you haven't experimented yet, and like give me a lot of shame for it, which I cannot stand that part of the community. Like there's this idea of culturally and religiously, like, yeah, I didn't talk about my sexuality because I didn't want to get my ass beat, or I didn't want to be shunned, or I didn't want to be kicked out or whatever, right? There was fear there. So because of that, I didn't experiment too much. But I'm being honest and upfront about it. Why do you have to shame me for it? So it just kind of adds to my own internal homophobia and not being able to like really express myself. But I don't know, because one of my exes is going through their transition right now. And I think they might have finished their transition, actually. I was kind of stalking his Instagram page the other day, and I think him and his girlfriend broke up. So anyways, I dated this guy way back when. He's a female to male trans man, and he is I think he's in the process of transitioning, but he looking real good. I was like, let's slide that back real quick. And I mean that was just a beautiful person in general, but recently I was like remembering just how like good and authentic it felt to myself to be just dating people because of their heart rather than for their looks. And that's one thing I'm realizing why I don't like Hinge, is I feel very shallow.
I mean, how much can you really like know about a person on a dating? So
True.
You're never really gonna know until you actually take that first step.
And that first step,
go ahead.
I was going to say that first step is usually the hardest.
Yeah, I was just about to say that too, because man, it's a mixed bag of what you can get on that first step.
Man, but it's all on that approach. Sometimes you, like you said, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. But I think at the end of the day, as long as you try, and by try, I don't mean you hitting them with the hey, how you doing? Well, I guess that is kind of what I'm saying. But as long you put the bare minimum effort in there, and at least having, or I guess not just having, but actually like putting some effort into your dating profile if you have one, that's literally the bare minimum you can do. That's like the bare minimum of trying, at least in this day and age, because like I said, everyone's hustling and bustling now. We all got our own thing. We got our own grind. It's hard to, get out there in person sometimes on the weekends, on a Saturday night, and go meet people. But I think that's the bare minimum you can do, is to make a dating profile and just see what's out there, because you never know what's out there if you don't at least start looking. You gotta put in, and this isn't like me talking like either one of you like in general. This is just like speaking in generalities, but yeah, just try. And because we all go through stuff. We all have this negative outlook on life sometimes. We get beat down, we beat ourselves up, we think there's no hope, all this kind of stuff. But when we all just stop and think for a second and really think about it, like this ain't so bad. And it's okay to be by yourself. I know a lot of people like to be in relationships. I personally, as much as I love being in a relationship now, I also very much like being single. But I think being in a relationship, the one I'm currently am in now, being in this relationship really doesn't make me miss the feeling of being single. And I think that's the type of relationship that's what I want for, all my friends. To not want to miss that feeling of being single. I don't want to say alone because that's too negative, but being single, you know what I mean?
I think it goes both ways. I do agree with you though, because you absolutely should put yourself out there in some way, shape, or form, even if it's baby steps. Like, going back to what I said earlier, I don't get a lot of matches or likes, but if I do end up matching and it still doesn't go anywhere, like they unmatch or they don't respond or whatever, I leave that with the notion that I'm glad that it was enough. I was enough for that person for a moment, even. And so yeah, of course, sometimes the glass is half empty, sometimes it's half full, depends on the day. But you gotta take a look at yourself objectively and just like, you know what? It could be worse.
Could be out here getting catfished.
Just be grateful what you got now.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'll touch on it real quick. Since I asked both of you, the dating scene for me, it's been a lot different because I have, like I've mentioned before, I typically wouldn't date that much. For a lot of reasons that Ace said, it's super toxic. A lot of the girls here in the Bay Area are very superficial and fake. But every now and again, you find those gems. You find those girls that even if I don't get very far with them, even just having a nice conversation with them, it's like, oh damn, she was very pleasant. I'm glad that I got to exchange pleasantries and make their day brighter for however long we knew each other. Fine. I very much loved the dating apps for the time that I was on them for years. I was on Tinder for the longest, but I had like of all the years I've been on Tinder, I've maybe had a couple hookups here and there, not a ton of success stories, even though I've been on it for a very long time. And then I moved over to Bumble. I had quite some success on Bumble. Mostly actual connections with women that went somewhere, whether it be a conversation that led to a hookup and then more conversations after that, or something that felt like it was actually leading into a relationship until something happened where we just didn't talk to each other anymore, stuff like that. And of course I had a couple of relationships. That's how the relationship I'm currently in started. It was on Bumble. So that's why I've had 2 relationships start off Bumble in the past 2 years. So that's kind of why I'm a big advocate, not like of the dating apps necessarily or specifically, but the just doing the bare minimum and putting yourself out there. That's kind of the big advocate. Because I wasn't necessarily looking for a relationship when I got into the ones that I was in. I was more so in the headspace of I'm tired of being a hoe at the moment. And so I'm gonna put my dick away for a little bit and try to actually have a conversation. And not like I wasn't having a conversation with the girls I was hooking up with, but we knew what it was leading up to in the next 24-hour, 48-hour period, you know what I mean? But I wasn't really looking for a relationship when I got into them, which is actually kind of crazy. I just sort of said, let's take it a little bit slower and see where things go. Wasn't necessarily looking for a relationship, but it ended up happening. So, and I think that's a beautiful fucking thing. That shit just that shit just hits you out of nowhere sometimes. You just find the person that's for you, and you just find them at the most random times. But again, to everyone listening, it just goes back to just doing the bare minimum and just put yourself out there, because you never know. You never know who's watching. And it's I take it back to I always use my wrestling as an analogy. is whenever you post your videos online, your clips, your highlights, your matches, whatever, you never know who's watching. So it's like always be on your best behavior. always put your best foot forward, because you never know, man. It's like the biggest mystery in life is that you never fucking know. Should have hit you like a ton of bricks sometimes.
I've been trying to get that message across to someone that we know for like the longest. Like, dude, don't go into these like expecting something. Just like take what you can get.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a couple of friends like that.
Well, I only said that with one person in mind, but I'm curious to see who you think the others were after we're done here.
Yeah.
Better hit that chat.
Oh, okay, yeah, I could do that.
Got it. Yeah, I had a
because I've been. This is not me just being a good friend, but like he legitimately has qualities that, like, I hear a lot of girls say that they want, and he can't look at himself objectively enough to see it sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So like, because like, it's always like, dude, just go on the apps and start swiping, see what happens, and I'll get, nah, I ain't getting no bitches, and that's it. That's the end of the conversation, because I can't steer it, convince him that you can, but you don't look at yourself like that, because, of course, he's very hard on himself, and I'm sure a lot of us are, but with him specifically, it's been like a primary problem being his friend for the better part of a decade and a half. And it just sucks to see him like this, because he's missed out on so much and so many opportunities to see where things can go with other people.
Man, I've said it for years. He would slay on Tinder
Dude,
or Bumble.
Dude, we've all said that. He dresses so nice. His style is really good. He's funny. You know, he has a dog.
He's so kind.
Yeah, so genuine. Like one of the realest people I know. It's crazy. And I say it to him all the time. Like, bro, have you seen me? Like I've got a very
You're
low.
A monster.
I've got a shut your fucking mouth. Don't you lie to me. But like I've got like a very low, at least up until like maybe like a year and a half, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I had like a very low self-esteem about my looks for the longest time. And even while I had the apps, you know, I never like looking at pictures of myself, but I know what makes a good picture. So I took those pictures and put them on my profile. You know what I mean? Like I said, put your best.
We're gonna have a talk about that picture thing off stream. I mean, off recording.
And yeah, you know, I may not have like the best self-esteem or confidence sometimes, but I know that sometimes and everyone's different, but I know it's not all about me sometimes. You know, if I have my friends, or I guess now even my girlfriend in my corner to hype me up, you know, and even to a larger extent, a lot of my wrestling friends would, you know, help me with, you know, my body image and all that kind of stuff, and how to better perceive myself in the public eye to my friends and family, all that kind of stuff. They really helped me a lot, and helping me get over a lot of my fears about looking at myself and talking with others about things. And I think one day for him, I really hope it clicks, you know, that we're not just saying all this to be your hype men, but like we're serious and we mean it genuinely, you know what I mean?
I'm not gonna short stick about that. If I say something about you, about your looks, positively or negatively, I mean that wholeheartedly, objectively, however word you want to use to describe it. If I say you look good that day or your fit is nice, it's not because I'm your friend. I'm just hyping you up.
Yeah. Also, it comes back to this idea of like, we want these people to see themselves the way we do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard. That's a really hard thing to try to like align for somebody's like, why do my friends say this stuff about me and other people say these things about me, but why don't I believe it?
Now, speaking of getting these people to see us how we want to see ourselves, Ace,
what's up?
I want you right now, if you feel comfortable,
Hmm?
break out that Bumble, break out that Hinge. What's in your bio?
Sure, I got you.
I want to see. I want to see what are you presenting to these people. Then they first come across your profile. I don't need to know like what kind of pictures you have because this is an audio format. But I want to know what kind of prompts do you have? What's your bio? You know what?
Let me preface this by saying that my bio for both is basically the same, so I'll save you both some time. Let me pull it up real quick.
I'm always curious about and
Sure, you don't want to see the photos.
I do. I want to see if they've changed.
Real quick, while you pull that up, I also want to tell everyone a little bit about Ace and I's relationship over the past few years. So, like I said, I've been on the apps more than anyone in our friend group, at least to my knowledge. And whenever we would go places, I would always, the very first time we would go, or anytime we pull up to a new city, whether we go get ramen across the bridge in San Francisco or Oakland, or we go down to San Jose for whatever, just hanging out. The first thing I would do, if Ace was driving or whoever was driving, I'd pull out my phone and I'd hop right on Tinder and I'd just start swiping furiously. in a brand new city we're in, I would just break out my phone and hop on Bumble, hop on Hinge, hop on Tinder. I just start swiping. I didn't care who it was. I just
listen to everyone that's listening. He is not exaggerating. He was swiping aggressively through those profiles.
Man, and sure enough, I'd get some matches just by doing that. I would get matches. It's crazy. And since I'm a delivery driver now, I take my talents all around the Bay. I would do the same thing while I was driving out on my routes. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm in Redwood City today. Let's see what the women in Redwood City are like."
I said, "Take my talents."
And then I'm so glad that when Ace started getting on the apps, he pretty much followed my lead and started doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, but the problem is I drive a lot for our group. So I can't do it.
But
while we're driving.
But when we get there, I see you.
When we get there, yes, I am doing it.
I see, bro.
But I want to do it as we're passing through cities because there's a bigger group, you know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I get
the serving size is bigger.
Yeah. All right, but what hit us with the bio or
yes. You're right.
Bios and prompts.
See, she said she wanted to see the photos, so I'm gonna show those real quick. So this is the most popular photo on Bumble. It's from the Christmas party. It's me and Bobby.
I took that shit.
That shit worked. So
here's another one. Real talk, some of our best pictures come from these parties, these Christmas parties.
Because they're all candid. That's why.
Yeah, we take some really good pictures. I don't know. I can't wait for this year's.
And then you can't really see it, but like it's one that Rex took.
Look at my guy freaking looking fitted, sitting on the park bench.
Another one, yeah. I can't really see it.
I like that one.
Look, man, I'm telling you, Ace, you just got that. You just got that. That photo genu. I don't know what word I'm trying to say. You good at taking photos?
Photo genes. The photo genes.
I'm sure you remember this.
Oh yes, I also took. No, that one wasn't me. That was a Nikki picture.
Yeah.
No, we went to Brazilian that night, right?
Yeah, I think Nikki took that picture.
Hell yeah, that was a 90s. I like that one a lot because it was like a 90s album cover type.
Yes.
And then there's this from my birthday, I think last year.
Oh yeah, you went to the VR room.
And then the last one is this one I took on Halloween, like however many years ago.
Oh, look at this fucking rogue ninja over here.
And then the caption says, gang. And then the small one says, headband don't cover my big ass forehead.
I love it.
And then, oh shit. The prompts, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I kept it simple for the bio. I was like, I'm here for friends, but if it turns out to be more than that, and that's just a bonus. I love anime, video games, and basketball. I like participating in other people's interests if it's fun. Always up for late night food runs because I know a lot of girls on here are foodies. So, and then I said the whatever traits, like, if I drink or smoke or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then for interests, I put crafts, video games, anime, comic books, and R&B music. And then one of the prompts is I quote too much from, and I put Futurama. And then I put my most useless skill is yo-yoing. And then
that is not useless, but yes, I like it.
And then a fun fact I'm obsessed with, which I said earlier, is kangaroos can't jump backwards. And then after that, it's just like my Spotify artists that I listen to the most, and that's it. That's usually it. I kept it really. I didn't want to put too much time into it, but I feel like what I picked and what I put said enough about who I was. So
I like it.
It's all you
Pretty
need
simple.
sometimes. You got to keep it short and sweet. Everyone's got short attention spans. You got to get to the point.
that's why I didn't put too much
To
work
the
into it.
point.
But I think it's an okay profile compared to other ones I've seen on the internet.
I mean, at least you
I
have,
literally
you have a
just-
bio at least.
I literally just said no to a guy who had nothing but pictures of food on his Hinge profile. So there's that. I don't know what you look like, but nice food, I guess.
There was no pictures of him, just food.
Nope.
Well,
Just
what
food.
the?
I can't date the food, dude.
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember my profile. I think my profiles were basically the same for both too, like yours. I think I put like I put bullet points. I put like 4 bullet points: anime lover, wrestling fan, heavy metal listener, and concert goer. I think those like my four things. And then if that struck a chord with them, then they'd message me about one of those things. I left it super vague.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't really put too much because I tried a bunch of different bios throughout the years. But I think that if you just list things to people, then they can latch onto that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I might take a page out of your book and rework it so it looks more organized, and I could list my interests in each line instead of just clumping it all up in one paragraph. But yeah, it was like a no-brainer that in my bio I had to list like what I like.
Mm-hmm.
Because how else are they gonna know what you're about?
I think one thing that helps, you did it already with the oh man, the Akatsuki outfit in one of your pictures, but have like maybe like one more shirt or an attire of something that you like what's that rapper, Joey Badass? You feel like a Joey Badass tee, you take a picture with that on or some shit, you know what I mean? I don't know.
It's just I don't really. It's just it's the same problem as you had before. Like you don't really take pictures of yourself. I don't either.
Yeah.
So I just use whatever pictures people take of me and just use those.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think all my pictures, I think at least 3 or 4 of my pictures have me wearing a Ghost t-shirt. Which actually worked once because I matched with the girl that had the exact same shirt as me in one of my pictures, and that's how we got to talking once. So that was pretty cool. Or another one, I had a Memphis t-shirt on, and someone made a comment about like Grizzlies, really, But yeah, shit like that could even start a convo before they even look at your bio. Sometimes,
right. I once matched with a girl because one of her prompts was things that I'm still not over, and she put the Lakers losing to the Celtics in 2008. So that tells me that she was a Lakers fan, and yeah, we matched on that. It didn't go anywhere, but we were just talking because of that. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think one of the this one's I don't think this one went anywhere. This was years ago. One girl I matched with, I usually sometimes I'll just steal not prompts, but like opening lines from screenshots I see on Facebook and stuff. And this is one of those ones. It was ask them. You just ask them what's their favorite type of soup. And I remember one girl, she was wildin'. I think the conversation ended quickly after she said this. I asked her what's her favorite kind of soup, and she said cum soup.
What the heck?
And I don't know. I didn't know how to respond to that. I legitimately did not know how to respond to that. I think I just left her on red. I know I responded with something that was just kind of like, oh, okay, or something. Like,
Oh,
because I
what the fuck?
wasn't I just wasn't expecting. I just wasn't expecting that. I was like, what the fuck? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these people be wilding. If I was more,
She didn't even try.
Yeah.
That's the
if I was
crazy thing. She just went for it.
if I was as horny and clever as I was now, I would have capitalized on that. But younger me was just astounded.
Fucking aloof.
Just like, geez, you just coming right out the gate.
Man,
throwing 90 miles an hour. I see.
I don't think I'll ever be ready for something like that if someone dropped that on me, because how do you respond to that at breakneck speed, by the way?
Yeah. Nowadays, if someone hit me with that, I'd probably be like, "Oh, you want to do this, huh?" And sometimes my conversations end up going that way. I'm not gonna lie. But, ladies and gentlemen, we have surpassed our time. Hopefully, you're still with us. But we've made it through another soft boiling. Want to thank our guest this evening, Mr. Impressive.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for sharing your stories. We much appreciate it. Hope to have you back for a future episode if you'd like to come back.
I'm down.
Hell yeah, he said he's down, Yesenia. You heard that?
You heard that. We're gonna hold it to it.
Shit, I got really nothing more to say. I think I'm all tapped out at the moment. Yesenia, Ace, any final comments? Any questions, concerns?
Ladies first.
Oh, okay. When it comes to 2023, damn, we're old. 2023 dating, just
10-year
I guess
reunion.
my biggest thing is just remember to love yourself and to date yourself too in that process. Learn about yourself, learn what you like about you. That's where you're going to find your confidence. That's where you're going to find your boundaries and your expectations of what you're looking for out of a person, out of the world, out of yourself. Passing it all over to you, Ace.
My only thing I gotta say before we head out is, if you ever get rejected by someone, you gotta ask yourself objectively, are you what they want? And I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Wise words. I've said it plenty of times. I'm gonna say it one more time. Please, the bare minimum you can do is to just put yourself out there, because you never know what's out there if you don't go looking. You'll find the best people in the strangest places, and it'll be when you least expect it. So please, even if you have to make a dating profile, please try to block all the negativity and toxicity. I know it's hard, but please at least try. Put your best foot forward, and someone will recognize you or recognize it, and they'll actually see you for who you are.
Don't let the internet tell you how to date people.
Oh yeah, do not listen to the internet for anything.
Yeah.
Don't live on the internet. Live in the moment.
Hell yeah. With that, thank you, Ace. Thank you, Yesenia. Thank you for sticking with us for another episode, people. Glad you're here. Glad you stuck around. Until next time, you've just been
Soft boiled.